Oh, we're not there. We on? We're on. We're nice. What's happening, people? We're back again. Another episode of Chattin with Paddy The Baddy. We're on episode 8 now, and I've got the UFC's Jack Shaw with me, a Welsh MMA fighter, same as me, former Cage Warriors champion. But something that he can say that I can't. He is still undefeated. He's representing the first under. Just into
Yeah, what's happening? I'm all good. As Cage Warriors champions, we've got to stick together. Don't be fucking putting me in out of a category, Pad.
Yeah, that's it, lad. We're Cage Warriors champions, lad. We always have to remind people that. People try and laugh it off, lad, but it's a big thing, lad. People don't understand that. So, no, one thing I did really want to get into right away is, like, when did you turn pro, Jack?
2016, 4 years ago.
Yeah, because me and you had a completely different, like, journey into MMA where, like, you done the IMAFs, like, the World Championships for amateurs. Some of the lads from our gym have been before. Well, Ben went last year. And, like, I just found that fascinating. You know what I mean? Like, tell everyone a bit about it. That's something I never got to experience.
Yeah, the IMAF was... It was a good learning curve for me, really. I think I was 8-0 at the time before I signed up to do it, and I was going to turn pro. Me and my old man and my coach had a chat, and basically we were going to turn pro. We couldn't really get no decent fights at amateur. There was a couple of little shows wanting me to fight for belts, but I wasn't interested in none of that. And I always wanted to go pro, but then obviously there was the Worlds in Vegas in the July, which I didn't know about. I was on holiday, and then there was the Europeans then, which was in Birmingham in November. So we went to the trial. It wasn't Team Wales at the time. It was Team UK. So the trial was with Nigel Burgess and John Maguire at Chris Reese's gym in Swansea. I think they did like obviously an English trial and a Welsh trial. So I managed to get selected. But yeah, it was a good experience. It was 4 fights in 3 days. We had to make weight every single day as well, which was obviously another factor that that's tough on the mind.
Lad, making weight every day. I couldn't think of nothing worse, to be honest. That that.
Well, I was lucky because obviously I fought lightweight at amateur, and to be honest, I probably could have made featherweight same day if I had to. I was coming in like 68 kilo every day, so what's that, like 150-ish, which is well underweight. But I was fighting boys. Obviously, there was boys then from like Norway and SPG, stuff like that, that were cutting maybe 3-4 kilos. So although I was the smaller guy, I think I had the advantage in the sense I wasn't depleted and wasn't dried out from the 4 days of cutting weight. And the thing I enjoyed the most...
People cutting weight, people not. People move up a weight and they look better in fights because of that.
Yeah, especially like because obviously we would weigh in like say 8 o'clock in the morning. You could be fighting by 11, 12 o'clock. So it was even like as an amateur coming up on the same day weigh-ins, you sort of weigh in at 9 and sometimes you wouldn't fight till 6, 7 o'clock. So with this, the time scale between the weigh-in and the fight was even shorter again. It was like back to the amateur boxing days, you know, we weigh in like an hour before the fight. So I knew I had to be nice and light coming in, so I didn't have to deplete myself. But the guy I fought in the final, I think, I remember he telling me after the fight, he cut like 10 pounds 4 days in a row. So that was the reason why he was so big.
Yeah, that takes it out of that. Like, don't know what it. To be honest, that's where like my amateur days were completely different. My first amateur fight, I weighed in the day before. Like most of my, like I think 6 or 7 out of my 9 amateur fights, I weighed in the day before. I think there was only 2 fights where we weighed in on the day. If it might only be in one, to be honest. Like that's what back then. No, amateur MMA, you could knee each other in the head and that.
There was no like there was no structure really to the amateur scene at the time, was there? There was obviously, like you said, there was fights doing day before weigh-in, fights doing day of. The rules were like there was one point where like 3 or 4 different rule sets at amateur. Some shows lay knee to the head, some shows wouldn't. I even remember some shows having like 2 4-minute rounds at amateur as well.
I remember Ross Poynton's show. I was meant to fight on it as well, but my opponent pulled out and a few of the lads fought on it. And you could elbow. you have 4-ounce gloves on and you could elbow on the feet, knee on the feet, and then you could ground and pound as well. It was just like, whoa, couldn't believe it, to be honest. And I was meant to fight that when I was 16, but I never got a chance to. I was gutted. I would have been made up doing that. Like I say, I wish the IMAFs would have come about sooner. Because if they would have, I would have loved to have done that. Because like 4 fights in 3 days sounds like a bit of me.
Yeah, well, it was perfect as well because obviously being in Birmingham, it wasn't like now where the IMAF scene have got bigger, they like in Russia and Bahrain and Italy and stuff like that. So it's a little bit like sometimes now it can be more of a who can afford to go that's the best fighter more so than who is the best fighter. Whereas obviously up in Birmingham, it's cheap flights, cheap hotels. So it was, I think the competition pool was a bit stronger as well. So it was perfect for me. Like in my head, it was if I win this or I do all right in this, and obviously I'm in good stead to go fight pro then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. People nowadays, I've seen a lot of amateurs. A lot of amateurs are doing one or the other. They're either having like 2 or 3 fights and they're rushing into a fight, or they're either having about 20 amateur fights and just waiting too long to go pro. And like, I like to see the balance in between. Like, how many Oh, you there?
Yo, oh, it's gone. I think your signal might have gone, eh?
Did it? Don't lie, lad. Is it working again?
I can hear you. Are you back now? Yeah. Fucking got me went then.
The Wi-Fi in this house needs sorting. I'm connected it to my hotspot. This is a joke. I'll get that edited anyway. Don't worry about it. Yeah, like I was saying though, like some fighters now will only have like 2 amateur fights and then go pro, or some will have like 20 and go pro. Whereas like you had 11 or 12, was it?
Yeah, 12.
12, and I had 9. You know what I mean? And then I went pro. But I would have loved to do something like the IMAFs. You know what I mean? It's a belt, a little tournament to be honest. But we end up, don't we, lad? And we both ended up in good stead because of the amount of amateur fights we had. And like I said, I don't think enough amateurs think about it that way no more. They just try and rush into pro because they want to fight different rules and they want to get paid. And you've got to master your craft before you want to go and get paid to do something.
Yeah, spot on. I completely. There's definitely like a line to draw. Like you don't want to go too early, but like you don't want to hang about too long either. Like once you win a sort of a big competition or a big IMAF, a world title, a European title, and that's the best time because you carry a lot of hype behind you. I think obviously when I won the European, when I first went pro, they were sort of advertising my fights as like the former IMAF champion, whereas you see some boys will win a title and then they'll like re-enter it again the following year and they might come second or third, so it takes a bit of sting out of it. So they're very good though for sort of knowing your level, and if you can compete at the IMAFs, I think, and do well, and you've come to a stage where you're well enough to go pro.
Yeah, like, and you how many fights did you have before you signed Cage Warriors?
Just the one. I had one fight on a low. Well, it was Pain Pit Fight Night at the time, which later became Cage Warriors Wales. So I had the one fight, and then they ended up sort of merging to be Cage Warriors Wales, and Graham signed me up then with Intensity at the same time.
Yeah, can you ever remember Omach?
Yeah, I can remember Omach. Yeah.
3 fights were on.
A couple of who fought? Oh, I think Marshman. It was Jack Marshman fought Lee Chadwick. I remember coming up to watch. That was
watching. To be honest,
what was that? 2011, maybe 2012, something like that. Like
I think that because I might have even been on that card. Was it late 2012?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2012. That's madness. That just the fact that MMA, how much it's changed in such a short space of time since we've started training. Know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like obviously a lot of people don't even realize that that's what it was like. Like I can remember I can remember being like fucking 14, 15, going to watch the boys fight pro, and they're pro fighters and they're fighting in like nightclubs with like 100 people watching, and they're getting paid like 200 quid and again like £3 a ticket deal. It's like people see it now, like nowadays, like the majority, especially in Wales, if you're a decent amateur, even at 2-3-0, you're on the Cage Warriors card, so you're fighting in like the Ice Arena and the Newport Centre. They don't see like back in the day where people are fighting like in little dingy nightclubs and little sports halls, stuff like that.
Pulled on a show in a nightclub underneath our gym years ago. It was one of my last amateur fights. Pulled on a show. Exactly what you mean. Know what I mean? It's even sports halls and stuff. I can remember we went to a show in Wales, and I think it was Almighty in a sports hall, and Adam Vensley fought, and where he can't keep it contained because it's in a little sports hall, his opponent's fans went wild. The fight ended up becoming a no contest because a fan hit me. The kid's mad, he lad. kid's mum ran over to our corner going bananas and hit me. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
I can remember, I didn't get slapped, but I remember we was cornering Marshman, me and my old man and his brother cornering Marshman up in Newcastle. Is it Made for the Cage or something like that?
Yeah,
And we was cornering Marshman, and so there was no, we was on our knees. There was no chairs to sit in the corner. We was on our knees, and like we have a year, and then Redfern's fans a year on us, and they're fucking mouthing Marshman through the cage. And he's turning around and having back and forth with him. And it's like, oh, I was thinking that I was only like 19 or something at the time. I had a fight in like 2 weeks. I thought, we ain't going to make it to the fight. And then there was in the cage about to start. And then there was a power cut. There was like a big marquee. So all the lights went off. So he was in the cage for like 20 minutes, couldn't fight. We had these fucking lunatics behind us going nuts. I remember being in the show in, where was it, to my state. I was about 12 or 13. And basically what happened is the Cardiff football hooligans and the Swansea football hooligans has arranged to meet at this show to have it out at the show. So like the main event's about to start and they start lobbing chairs. They just start scrapping and the show just gets scrapped. There's like two fights left that just didn't happen because these lot had just kicked off big time.
I mean, that's the only thing about stuff like that. It's funny thinking about, but then you've got to think about the fellas in the main events that they've put the sacrifices in to get there. Like that's what happened with Adam. That fight, Adam was it just like taking control of the fighters that happened, lad, and it ended up becoming a no contest because obviously his opponent started to jump out the cage and hit me, so Adam started fighting with him. Jay Furness was in the middle of them like that.
I can remember on seeing about who was he fighting? Was it
Azzy Thomas? It was.
I can remember seeing online that
slapped me across the face. It was like that. Proper went off though. All people were fighting out and start the fight again, but it just never happened. Just become a no contest, lad.
There's point of no return sometimes. Like you were saying that my stay when it was like they were never gonna chill that out to let the boys fight. It was just once it kicks off something like that, it's the point of no return, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It really is. No, another thing I wanted to touch on though, lad, was the way obviously you've got a home support like I have, lad. Some people who listen to the podcast won't know that, lad, because loads of them are Scousers, know what I mean? But the support you have in Wales is phenomenal, lad, know what I mean? Yeah. I went to the shows that time when the Grand Prix, the amateur Grand Prix was on, and lad, the support's brilliant, lad. It's like the Echo. I'm not going to say it is the Echo. You're not far off, but it's not the Echo.
Mate, I needed 1 or 2 more fights, didn't I? Oh yeah, I have. It's obviously like I think I've only had like 2 or 3 pro fights that haven't been in Wales. So I think like the reason that obviously mine's a little bit different to yours. Like you're a bit more outspoken than me. You've got a big following from being a big like social media presence. Whereas I think mine's a little bit different in a sense. I think a lot of people like relate to me. Then like Graham said it as like the kid next door. Like I don't look like a fighter. I'm not too outspoken, but I think a lot of people can like relate themselves to me a little bit. And obviously, where I live is a small community, so a lot of people know me personally, and they sort of get a bit like the Scousers that you always say. They get behind their own, and it's very similar with the Welsh. Like once I had like sort of the old town of Apleary follow me everywhere, they were going that mental at like the smaller shows that the other Welsh fans would see that was my lot, and they'd be like, "Fucking, they're having a good time. Let's go and sit up with them." And it just grew and grew from there, and it just took off. Obviously, like I sold the Ice Arena out 3 times, so it's great to see. Like obviously, if the UFC ever come to Wales, I think it'd be nice to put forward. I'd have a bit of pulling power in bringing some tickets in as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. You'd put bums on seats, and that's at the end of the day, that's what they want, isn't it? You want bums on seats.
Well, this is it. Like I always hear people complaining about the pay and stuff like that in Cage Warriors, and you know yourself, if you can put people in the arena, then you're obviously going to get paid a lot better than what you are if you're selling 20 tickets. Like my pay in Cage Warriors was very good, but that wasn't because Graham favoured me to anyone else on the roster. It was because I could sell him out in the arena, and I try and like get that across to some of the younger boys in the gym, especially fighting like domestically on the European scene. If you want to get paid what you think you're worth, you've got to be able to sell tickets. You've got to be able to amass a following. Otherwise, you're never going to get an opportunity to main event in the big arena.
You're exactly right, lad. I say to the younger lads in our gym, if you want people to pay you what you're worth, you've got to show them what you're worth. You've got to tell everyone what you're worth. If not, no one's going to. If you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in you.
Like my old man, like when he does he matches like the amateur shows, like they do a couple of smaller academy shows in Wales, and he gives like the amateurs the option. I think it's like if you sell like a couple of tickets, you'll get like a fight bonus just for selling the tickets. And there's people that can't sell like 15 tickets. So I'm like, how would you ever expect to get fast tracked or moved up the ladder if you can't shift tickets? Like you know, like I try and tell the boys. My boxing coach Gary, he's obviously clued up. We've got a lot of young pros, and they are having fights and they're losing money because if they don't sell their tickets, their ticket money then is to pay their opponent, and then they split half of what they got left over with a promoter. You know, we are fortunately for us, we get like a percentage on our ticket sales. Like, so I say, you think you got it? You want to see some of the pro boxers? You know, I know boys who are 8-9-0, and the most they've made is 300-400 quid on a fight because, you know, the ticket game is different. You've got to be able to shift tickets. You've got to be able to pull people in.
Yeah, the way you mentioned there, boxing, a lot of people think boxing you get a lot more money, and you do, but that's at the higher end. You know what I mean? Like, people think boxing straight away you're getting paid big money. You're not. Just like MMA, you've got to work your way up. And with boxing, it takes longer, doesn't it, to work your way up? With boxing, it's like 25-0 before anyone really notices you, unless you're a heavyweight.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, it is the odd couple that sort of gets signed straight to the match room or the Frank Warren off like an Olympic career or what's the other one, World Series of Boxing and all that. But very rarely do you see, but like you said, you don't see boys getting paid tidy or tested until they've had sort of 25 fights. Is the pay better at the top end? Yeah, without a doubt. But coming up, there's better chance for MMA boys to make money than there is the boxers. And there's, you know, what I like you said, I had 11 fights before I got to the 11 fights before I got to the UFC. Whereas you think before a boxer could get like you know, a WBC ranking, they're looking at probably 20-30 fights. There's a lot. There's that comes factored in as well.
Look at the likes of Deontay Wilder, didn't he? He had about 35 fights before he got a title shot, didn't he? And he was like 35-0.
Something mental like that, yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, obviously, as we were discussing before, you're going to Fight Ireland, which is nice. Molly and Fishy are going as well. You're going to come back with a nice tan, like, at least. Bruises.
Don't be so sure about that. I got fucking ginger skin, so I'll probably come back with a bit of sunburn. You see me out there, just hiding in the room away from the sun. But I don't tan very well. Like, I'll come back like a lobster, I expect.
Yeah, I'm all right in that sense, lad. I come out looking all bronze. Whenever I go on holiday, I'm still tan now, lad.
My old man comes back. He's like, he go on holiday for like 4 days. He goes to Tenby for 4 days. He comes back like a Greek. I went to Mexico last year for like 10 days. I come back as white as I was when I left. So I don't know. It's just not in me Canada, like.
Oh, great that, you know. Another thing I want to say, you mentioned it before. You said like the way the Welsh get behind their own. Like, you're not wrong there. Like, I always say, the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish are more like Scousers than anyone from England is. You know what I mean? Scousers are more like everyone else from the UK than their own country. It's proper strange.
Yeah, I remember. Well, one of the best atmospheres I ever had was whenever I come to watch you when you won the belt. I was only like 2-0 at the time. I was due to have my third fight, my third pro fight with Cage Wars, and Graham asked me and Marshman if he wanted to come up. So me and Marshman was ringside, and that's like the closest atmosphere I've seen to. I went to watch UFC in Dublin a year or so before, and the atmosphere reminded me very much of that. Like you said, is like everyone in the arena when you fought was going like 100% behind you, and it was very similar to when I fight in Wales, and very similar to that card in Ireland that I went to watch. Like Paddy Ulan fought in the main event, and everyone in the arena wanted him to win. It's very much like
that's what people don't understand when they first come to an MMA show. They think it's gonna be like blood and gore and stuff. You know what I mean? They think of it in a different way. But then, if they go to like watch you in the Ice Arena or me in the Echo Arena or something like that, they realise it's a completely different thing, and it bonds people together.
Yeah, and it's like I try and tell people it's like a party atmosphere. Like that's how I feel like when I look out after the fight and see all the boys and I say all the boys, just everyone in the arena. I don't even know half of them, and it's not like it's not an hostile atmosphere. They enjoy this stuff. Like, it's a night out for them as well, and that's part of the reason that they buy the ticket, because they don't just necessarily buy the ticket to watch the fights, just because it's a good night out as well. It's a good atmosphere.
Because they're having a laugh with their mates and people enjoy it. I'm looking at that camera there, thinking I need my hair cut bad. This isn't back open though, lad, and I'm not going to a barber. He'll butcher me head. It's terrible.
You didn't want to go for the lockdown cut, did you, with a razor?
Oh, lad, if I was going to do the lockdown cut, I would have put a GoFundMe up and said make some money for.
Yeah.
Not for charity. Would have earned a bit of dough for charity, but I can't shave this, lad. I'd look like a proper weirdo.
You gotta keep it now.
Have you seen me head there? I've got an M-head. Lad, I can't cut this head. Look like it started falling out. But yeah, as I was saying before, you're fighting on Fight Island. If you wanted to tell people who are watching what date you're fighting and like your opponents and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it's a bit up in the air at the minute. Obviously, I was due to fight. I had a date and an opponent set. For whatever reason, the opponent couldn't make the date. So I'm just still speaking to Graham at the minute, waiting on confirmation on obviously the final date and opponent. But they pretty much said they're going to get me on there. Obviously, it's 3 weeks away now, so I should imagine by the end of the week we'll have 100% confirmation that we can release then of who and the date and everything.
Yeah, nice. That I didn't even know that anything happened with your opponent. To be honest, lad, that's news to me. Know what I mean? But yeah, another thing, as you saw on when I put the post up, I think you guessed who it was. You put a few people said Jack Shaw, but I got the first one that said Jack Shaw / Nathaniel Wood. Yeah, you knew who it was who said it, but of course I've got to touch on that. Know what I mean? I've got to speak about that. What happened there?
To be honest, I don't know. It's basically what I fought in Belgium at featherweight. It was my last fight at featherweight. I think I cut like £2, £3 maybe. So I know that the next logical drop was to bantamweight. So I know Wood was due to fight on the Super Saturday, defend the belt. So I just put my name in the hat and said, look, I'd be happy to fight for the belt if Graham and Ian are happy. And I didn't slate him at all. I said he's a great fighter and it would be a good fight for him to watch. But so I think, to be honest, it's more so like people on Twitter have just turned it into this beef that it's not. Like me and Nathaniel, we've never, like, I don't see it, I don't dislike him. I don't see it as like a personal beef or, you know, I don't think, I'd love to smash his head. And it's just one of them. It's like, back then he was the champion and I wanted to fight for the belt. So the fight made sense. But you know, if it happened, we're in a position now where it could well happen in the UFC, and if it doesn't, I'm sure it'll be a great fight for the fans. But if it doesn't happen, then I won't lose no sleep over it.
Yo,
he's back inside now.
Go inside, lad. Fucking hell. It's a good job I've got someone who can edit this, lad. I don't know what I'm doing with these computers. So I've got someone who can edit it for me. You got up to them people on Twitter.
Yeah,
sorry about it.
That's all right, mate. It's basically just people. I think people are like, obviously, my mates have all jumped on a giant bandwagon, giving him shit, and all his boys are grieving me on it. But it ain't nothing personal. There's no like malice in it. It was one of them. At the time, he was a champion. I wanted to fight for the belt, so I wanted to put my name in the hat and say that, look, if you can't get an opponent, I'll slot in there and fight. But like I said, we're in a position now where we're both up and coming in the UFC. The fight could well happen. But if it doesn't happen, you know, I don't lose no sleep over it. Obviously, in my opinion, stylistically, I think I'll do very well in that fight. But like I said, it's not like my sole focus in the UFC is gunning for Nathaniel Wood. If it comes up and they want to make it, then great. If they don't, then, you know, there's other routes we can go down.
See, I'll be honest, I thought something had been said more recently, to be honest. Like, I didn't know it was so far back then. I thought something had been said more recently.
So that's where it started. He chirped up a couple of months ago saying something about me and... or someone did an interview with Sean O'Malley. I think it was one of the MMA UK lot, and they asked Sean O'Malley about me and Nathaniel Wood. And Sean O'Malley have said something like, you know, it don't make sense for these prospects to fight on the way up. And I think Wood have chirped in at Sean O'Malley, and he brought me into the mix, like, to drop my name in there. So I usually let it go on Twitter, and then he dropped something about he couldn't even finish volley, and I was like, oh, come on now, you're asking for it now. So he said he couldn't even finish volley. I said, you know, got a bit cheeky myself and said, well, I finished your boy when I won the belt. So it took off a little bit from me, but you know me, it's not usually my style or that shit on Twitter. So I backed out today, and like I said, if it happens, then I'd be more than comfortable to take it.
You should have took my approach, lad. Something, just go in.
All guns blazing.
All guns blazing. No hold barred. Just going in, letting everyone know.
Until 3 o'clock in the morning, Twitter warring flat out.
Like that. It's like that. After you never leave me, sit in my bed, a kid next to me. wakes up at like 2 in the morning. What are you doing? Fucking shut up.
What are you doing? Fucking arguing with some moron on Twitter.
Yeah, just like look, what are you doing? Just looking at my phone and I just look at his profile. He hasn't even got a picture. I'm like, what am I doing?
But it's always the people with no picture and a stupid name. Because I just find something, I go to type a reply to some people and I'm like, fuck it off, just don't get involved in it. But
on Twitter and Instagram, well, Twitter more, you should have to have like some sort of identification code.
100%.
Because some of the stuff I see people saying to the people on there is just wrong. There's all sorts of...
A lot of it is just not like opinionated people as well. I haven't got a clue. Like, even just things that don't even involve me. I remember seeing when Joshua got matched up with Ruiz the first time. There was a video of Ruiz going around banging the pads and he looked sharp and someone retweeted it and was like, yeah, well, anyone can look good on the pads. And I was like, no, they can't. Fucking can't. Like, if you try and look like that now, you're not gonna look nothing like. Not anyone can look good on it. What are you on about? You haven't got a clue what you're on about. And then it turns out down the line he got sparked, didn't he? So I was like,
the said was pads don't hit back. No, anyone can look good on pads because they can't. You've got to train to look good on them, but they just don't hit back.
Honestly, it's like I could spend some days on it. Well, like the amount of times I catch you in a Twitter beef with some random man, I was on there like that. He's off. But it's like I'll watch you on the one you'll be arguing with someone else will chip in, and then you've started another war then with the person who chipped in.
There's like 4 different threads coming off one sweet lad all the time. But stick there, they just jump on. What are you saying? Someone else cuts off. What are you saying, lad? You're a gimp.
The one where when he's gonna fight that guy from America, he missed what's his name? He missed weight.
Natty lad, that
one. I was on it. My missus like, what are you doing? I was like, oh wait, just wait a minute. Paddy's arguing about 12 people on Twitter, and he was arguing with him. Then he was arguing with his coach, and he was arguing with someone else. I was just like,
the amount of stick I had off Americans over that, I was fuming. I kept just saying, why are you giving me stick? What, like, I made weight? Tell your boy, you know what I mean? That was the most frustrating thing about that. It was just like, lad, tell your boy, don't fucking... He's the one who needs telling. Lad, it's mad. So, obviously, another thing was we need to talk about is how has coronavirus affected you training? Because, personally, for like 2 months, I didn't really do anything, you know what I mean? And as you can probably tell off my Instagram, I eat like a fat pig. So like I'm the same. Like if I'm not training, I tank the weight on this because I eat a lot of shit. But I try to stay active, like running. I've turned into a road cyclist now. For years I would drive past them in my car, I'm like fucking cyclist. Whereas now I'm one of them that's out on the road pissing all the drivers off. Like full
Caban, Sky Kit, fucking the bib. The lights, I got a lot, but
you're serious when you've got all them, lad, you know. Oh, you're serious.
I was even not going to do it at all. I was going in, and I was going in properly, like so. I've turned into a road cyclist. I was doing a lot of running. I was living with I've only just moved out, so I was living with my old man for like the first sort of 8 weeks of lockdown. So we was doing bits of pads and stuff. But you know yourself, is not the same as rolling and wrestling and sparring.
And stuff, and it's just not the same, is it? Like as you said, I got a rowing machine off. Someone was kind enough to lend me a rowing machine. I used that a couple of times, and then I had to get someone to put a punch bag up for me in the garden, and I was doing like 8 miles every 2 days or something, just because I'm a fat bastard and I needed to burn the calories off. Because like I can sit there and eat 3 big bars of chocolate at once, lad.
But listen, I swear, that's my weakness. Like I was living a life of a pro athlete from 9 in the morning till about 7 in the night. So I would like run in the morning. I would eat my 3 good meals. I'd do a little bit in the night, like a little bit of pads, or I'd go out on a bike, and then I'd sit down like in front of the telly, and all of a sudden then the chocolate's coming out, the cake is coming out. So thankfully, I'm glad to get something lined up, because when I know I got off like a fight in like 6-7 weeks time, I know then I got a diet. I know I got to get my head on it. But it's just been shit, like with the gyms closed. Obviously, it doesn't look like they're opening as well for another month or so. I know pro athletes can do bits, but they say we still got a social distance in the gym, so which don't make no sense. Like how you meant to do anything while social distancing. So it's one of them. It's a shit scenario. Because I know like all the Yanks are still training as if I got a lot of them on Instagram, guys I've trained with over the years, and like they're training as if nothing's going on. They're in groups of 10, 15 in the gyms, in the garages training. And it's like, well, you know, if they're doing it, I don't see why we can't do it.
Yeah, that's it. Like it's half unfair in that sense if they can get to train and we can't. You know what I mean? So they need the balance. But Boris said today that neither July 4th pubs and restaurants are open. So if pubs and restaurants are open, surely you've got to open gyms.
Yeah, well, like I said, how can you social distance in a pub, like maybe a restaurant, but do they honestly think after someone is 4 or 5 pints deep that they're going to start keeping their 2 meter distance from everyone and not, and wearing their mask? It ain't going to happen. So if they're going to open all that, they just as well open the gyms. I think personally it'd be a lot easier to social distance in a gym with runners and weight machines and stuff like that than it would in a pub. But that sums up the UK government.
You're right there though. Literally with running machines, you could just put something over one, so there's a space in between one. Same with weights machines, just block one off so you can't use one. You've got
You could also, like we got a cardio suite in our gym and a weight suite. You could even book it out for hours. 10 people per hour, like 10 to 11. Book in your slot 11 to 12. So there's only like say 10 people in the gym at a time. And like you said, close off every other machine. So it'd be much easier to distance there than it would in a restaurant or a pub.
Yeah, it would. Much easier. You're not wrong there. But I've just admired what you said before, though. You was living like a professional athlete in the morning to the night. I couldn't even do that. It was like I was fasting until about 4 o'clock and then just eating all night.
Everything in sight.
Lad, everything. Just like I'd have a tea in ours and then I'd walk up to my bed and have a tea in his.
Doubling up.
But lad, I got to the point where my bird ended up shouting at me, "What are you just had a roast in yours, you're not having a chicken burger in ours, go home." Went off on that, swear.
It's getting bad when the missus is going to start chipping. Like I've been like we'll have a big bar of chocolate in the fridge and I'll eat the one and I'll go to get the other. My missus like, do you really need 2 of them? Like it was one not enough, and he was like, guilt tripping me into putting it back. Wait for it to go upstairs to bed. I'm back in the fridge getting it back out.
Lad, you'd think my missus was fighting soon. She's bought some app, £15 app. It's got like a 28-day shed on. Lad, a week ago I hadn't started the diet yet, and she was like, when I'd pick something up, "You're not eating that in front of me. What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm just like, I'm not. Your diets aren't as serious as mine. You're just doing it for something to do. No, I don't do this to you. I don't do this to you. Just like, oh.
My message is the opposite. She's like, we sat there the other night, and she was like, do you mind if I order a Chinese? And I just like, fucking, what do you mean? Do I mind if you order a Chinese? Yes. And you're not having a Chinese. Like, go to McDonald's or something in the car. It's like, I'm not sitting here watching you eat the Chinese.
Because lad, know what would be the worst thing about that? She'd leave half of it.
Every time. This is the problem. Like, whenever we go out for food, I don't ever order the same as her because I know she's going to leave half of hers. So I know I'll order what I want and eat that, and I know for a fact I'm going to have half of hers to follow up afterwards. So you've got to play it tactical. It's the same if you have like a pizza or something like that. Have half and half because you know she's going to leave half of hers. So you can have what you want on your half and then polish your half off anyway.
We all think the same, lad. It's great.
It's fighting. It's weight cutting. Like what I try and say that to people because you got to be so rigid when you're doing it. Like when you haven't got to do it, then it's hard to cap it off.
I always say to people, the worst lie a fighter can ever make is, and I say at every camp, after this fight, I'm keeping my weight down.
Yeah, that's why I said
the worst lie ever, lad.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Just doesn't happen. You can't help yourself. You're like, I haven't had that for so long. I'm going to eat that.
Yeah.
Stop it next week. But I'll eat that. Oh,
it's like the week, like you said, like the week after the fight, you say, right, I'll have a week off the diet, and then the following Monday, I'm getting back into it, and then you think, I'll eat what I want Monday, and I'll start it on Wednesday, and then Wednesday comes Friday, you're like, well, there's no point dieting over the weekend, I'll start next Monday, and then before you know it, you have 3-4 weeks off the diet, you think, looking at the scales,
you're looking at the scales, you're like 89 and you're like, oh my god.
There's like an ongoing joke in the gym as well. Like the boy, like Oban and I'll come in, but like, what are you weighing? And I'd be like, 85, and they'd be like, you're 87. Like, I chuck 2K on that straight away. Like, no one's ever telling the truth about their weight.
It's in our gym, lad. You tell people what your weight is, and like how it's like. It happened today. He was like, "What do you weigh this morning?" I was like, it was 83 today. Oh, 85 then. Just like, yeah, he's always at that, and it's always him lying about his weight.
It's always. To be fair, we're all like it now with Jim. We all creep a couple of kilos off. It's like, let's see you on the scale, and then I'll take your word for it.
I know what I've been speaking to Owen quite a bit, lad. He's a funny guy,
he's one of a kind. Let me tell you, he's like, because he's so muscular as well. Like you say, he's like you weigh like 83 after a session, and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, you're not 83. And then you weigh the next day and he'd be like 87, and it's like, he must just, because he lose so much water in the gym on a session, he tanks it back on it overnight. And I was like, what were you at today? He's like, oh, I've only had a breakfast this morning. I was like, you went 83k then, you know?
What did you eat last night then? You should say. I don't know what you mean there though. He's that muscular, he just sweats loads. Ellis Hampson and our gym's like that, lad. He's that like athletic and muscular, that lad. He just drips with sweat. But that must be great for cutting weight, mustn't it?
Yeah, I think it's obviously the muscle loses water easy, doesn't it? So obviously people like, oh, I say that though, and like, you know, he could probably, if he had to, he could probably cut sort of 14, 15 pound of water, because he's so lean and so, you know, carrying a lot of muscle, he's very lean. The water would just flush out of him when he starts sweating, you know, whereas people who are a little bit softer, they could probably do maybe 8 to 10 pound.
When I was younger, I used to cut a lot of weight, as you know, when I used to make feather, and I didn't have a bit of muscle on me at all. I wasn't muscular at all, and I've cut like just over 8 kilo overnight before.
Yeah.
I was like that, lad. Like, I didn't have muscle on me anyway, so it was just, it killed me, like, but I got there in the end.
Yeah. It's like you say,
and lad, that weight cut to, like, if you don't get the weight cut right, just ruins your fight.
Of course, it just saps the life out of it. Like, I try and tell people, like, I last like sort of 2 years I've been working with a nutritionist, and like what he said to me, it's like people are under the assumption when they're in fight camp, you got to be lowering your weight, but it's not so much a weight, it's your body fat, because obviously the less body fat on you, the less the water can cling to them when you start sweating out. You know, you'll be better off being a little bit heavier but leaner and have, you know, less body fat, because when you start flushing the water out, the water will just come straight off your muscles. If you're carrying a bit more fat, but even though you're lighter, then, you know, it starts holding on to it. So it's definitely a science to it.
I'll be honest, I've noticed that myself in my last 2 fights, because obviously I had, well, the last 2 times I've made weight, obviously one of them was Giannetti. Like, I never done a weight cut or nothing for like 18 months or something, 15 months. And where I'd started lifting a lot of weight and my body had changed, lad, the weight just come off like that. Where in the past, lad, like when I fought a Rosa, when I fought Nad, I was in a bath for hours and I was killing myself to make the weight. And it just zapped me for fight night.
Yeah, it does. Like, you've got to get it right. I mean, and especially the refill, the weight cut. You got to know what you're doing. I think you got to have people around you as well that know what you're doing. It's like you said, I see some boys doing it, and you think, fucking hell, they're making life hard on themselves. Do you know what I mean? And it does affect your performance massively.
Like, that's something. We got onto hot baths years ago. A lot of gyms were still using saunas up until about 2 years ago, weren't they? Which obviously affects your waist. And like, I'm terrible, lad. I just know to turn up and fight. Know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's all I know. Like, I'm late for rules meetings and all that because I'm just a spaceman. I just know to turn up and fight. So like, all that weight cutting stuff, the scientific side, I'm terrible with. I'll be honest about it. Know what I mean? That's not my forte. I'm not good with that. I look to like Paul Reed and Ellis and people like that, the sports science people who know about it. And as you say, like, people just don't understand how much of a difference that actually makes. Like, looking at MMA fighters 10, 15 years ago, imagine all this was in place then. Know what I mean? It would be completely different.
It's all about who knows what they're doing. Like you said, like, if you've got someone who's got your routine down, and even like I use the sauna still. If you've got someone who, you know, knows what they're doing, knows how to keep you cool in between, but knows how to keep you sweating, it's a lot easier than you. Like you said, I can remember like my first weight cut. I was just running a hot bath. I just ran a hot bath and just jumped in there. Thought, right, I'll do 20 minutes in, check my weight, see where I am. Then back, it was none of like the wrapping up in towels. It was none of the chucking a sauna suit on whilst you're out. There's so many ways you can do it to make, you know, it's a shit experience, I know, but there are ways and things you can do to make it easier for yourself. Whereas you see some boys still, they're like, I see some people still trying to run the weight off. Like they do like they want to try an hour on the treadmill. I'm like, fuck that. I haven't got the energy for that when I'm close to weight.
See, my first 2 or 3 fights, I was only 16, so I hardly had to cut anything. And like for them ones, I went on a run. I was like, the night before, I'll never forget it, the night before, I was like a pound over. And I was thinking, oh, I'm a pound over. So I went for a run the night before.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, and then...
Like, whereas now, you'd think, oh, I'll go to bed, I'll wake up on weight.
I'll go to bed, I'll wake up under, I'll have a little drink in the morning.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about knowing the little tricks.
It is, the little tiny details what people don't understand. That's where, like, the Twitter warriors do my head in. do end up arguing with people because like the know-it-alls on there are just.
No one got a clue. I put something out like a couple of weeks ago. I was watching the 30 for 30 stuff on ESPN, and it was Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard, their second fight, and basically like Duran said no match. He said I quit. I know he threw the towel in, and it was like even back then, like 30, 40 years ago, there was journalists saying, how can he quit? He's being paid all this money and he's just quit. He hasn't even fought. And it's like, fucking, you've never been in there. Like he's in there with Sugar Ray Leonard, who schooled him for however many rounds he did. And it's like, well, who are you to say he can't quit? Like, you're not the one in there getting punched in the head, like getting brain trauma. It's like, I hate it when I see people saying, "No, he should have did this, he should have did that." I went, yeah, a fighter should make weight, but when you got people saying, "Oh, it's his own fault, he did the weight cut bad," it's like you don't know what goes into that in the weeks leading up. When they should have did this in the fight, they should have did that in the fight. It's like unless you've done it yourself, you haven't really got a valid opinion on it.
Especially when people start talking about people's fight camps, because no one knows what's happened in that fight camp. Anything could have happened with someone's family, their friends. They could have had injuries, you know what I mean? Then people start saying, "Oh, he's unprofessional, he's done this wrong," when you don't really know, you know what I mean? You've got to look into it. Like, obviously, I'm a sinner for that, because I call Giannetti unprofessional when he missed weight, but...
Yeah, but like you said, there's a difference between there's a difference between missing like by a pound or two because something have happened in the build up or whatever to Giannetti when he missed by like 8 pounds, something stupid like that, wasn't it? So that's like, to me, that's like you aren't even trying to make weight. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I said that all along after I just said he never even tried. Like,
no, like you haven't tried.
It was funny, lad. We were sat with like Hawley and Gary and Chris Fields and stuff, and like I said to Adam, make sure he doesn't have nothing to drink in case we're getting him back in the sauna, lad. And he was like, I will. And then Adam was looked over and he's having a drink and that. Adam was saying, "What are you doing?" And that's where all the big argument come from. Adam said that. And I'll never forget it. Giannetti jumped up, started shouting, and me, Chris Fields, Ian Gary, and Adam, and James Webber as well, all looked at each other and went, "He hasn't even tried to make weight."
No,
and then you can tell, because, lad, I've been there where I'm like, walking to the scales, know what I mean? Someone's carrying me to the scales, and like, he just walked to the scales, so I didn't even look drawn in that much.
Yeah, like, well, I've been in, like you said, you know when, like, I've made weight sometimes, you're on the scales, and you were thinking, like, I physically couldn't go back in the sauna now. Where you feel that depleted. Like, when I make weight and I'm on the scale at 135 or 136, I wouldn't have the energy to be shouting up and fucking bouncing about and screaming at people, like, because I couldn't do it. I'd be that drawn. Like, if you've got the energy to jump up and scream and shout, you just get back in the sauna.
Exactly what I said. He was trying to say he passed out and stuff, which I weren't having. But like I said, I literally, when I fought at Rose that time and I cut 8 kilos overnight, I was getting pulled in and out of the sauna. I was just lying there like that, and like JP was putting me in, and then after 10 minutes pulling me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, that's what you've got to put yourself through if you want to make it. He just didn't try.
No, so that's the plot. Like, it's easy when you're cutting weight. Like, you have the thoughts in your head. It's easy to just say, "Oh, I'm not doing it." You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't make it, but you've done everything you can to make it, and it don't really make it no better. But at least you can honestly say to yourself, you've done everything you can. Whereas some people just don't want to take yourself to that dark place, do they?
No, it's crazy, lad. Well, just one other thing I wanted to say. I was speaking to Owen the other day, and I was saying we're therefore going to have to us come up to your ends, or you come down to our ends, and have a little session, some sparring session with the lads, and have a little night out or something. Therefore,
yes, and look, there's not much of a nightlife in that Larry mine. I won't. We'll have to go to Cardiff or something, but we'll definitely do it both ways.
And lads, you'll have the best night out of your lives.
So I mean, if we're emphasising on a night out, we're better coming off to Liverpool, I think, to be honest.
It's just one of them. We'd have to ring people in advance, like, "Lad, there's about 20 MMA fighters coming down tonight, so let them in."
Just pre-warning you. No, definitely. Yeah, I've been speaking to Fishy as well online, and he said the same. He's on about we'll try and sort something out, because we both got good strong teams, different weights. Where we could meet up and have a proper set. So
different fighters who are different weights and could all test the skills against new
100%. Yeah, we'll definitely get something done.
I've done the podcast with him as well, to be honest.
What's that, mate? Sorry.
I think I mentioned it to your dad as well.
Yeah.
That's with him. So,
yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, Rimmer and my old man are cut from the same cloth anyway. They're very similar, so it makes sense. And we'll probably be better. Like I said, we'd be better off coming up because it's fuck what we're doing tonight, don't you? But We won't want to take you to that, Larry. You'd get
with a cardi on, just sitting.
You come up here, it'd be like 1 o'clock. Everything's shut. You're like, what are we gonna do now? So we'll have to come to Liverpool if we're gonna have a night out.
Therefore, before we finish, there any sponsors or anything you want to shout out, lad?
I'll just check them out on my social. I got too many. I'll end up upsetting someone and forgetting one of them. So they're all over my socials. If you see them, give them a follow. Jack's MMA on everything. So
when this gets put up, I'll be sharing all Jack's credentials anyway, his Instagram and stuff. So everyone give him a follow. As he said, he's fighting in like 3 weeks. So everyone best be watching, giving him some support.
Yeah, get it. Let's have some support off the Scousers as well. Come on now.
But Jack, thanks for your time, lad. Thank you very much for coming on.
No problems. Anytime, Pat. Enjoy that.
That was another episode of the Chattin Pony with Paddy the Baddy, people. See you soon.